Welcome to WEIBLUESKY Novels. Thank you for joining me. Now, let's begin today's story.
Chapter 1, A Line of Poetry, Like a Crack in the World. 2:47 a.m. Night in Taipei was never truly dark. Beyond the window, neon lights lingered like a dream that refused to fade. Cars still drifted through the distant streets, their muffled sounds reminding him that a life which no longer belonged to him was still moving on. Li Yuankai sat before his computer. The screen glowed with an unfinished project proposal. The cursor blinked. 1 second. Another. Yet he couldn't bring himself to type a single word. The coffee on his desk had long since gone cold, leaving a dried brown ring around the rim of the mug. His gaze settled on the title of the document, Brand Repositioning and Emotional Engagement Strategy. A faint smile crossed his face. Soft. Empty. Emotional engagement. He couldn't even reconnect with his own life. 3 months earlier, he had quit his job. The explanation sounded admirable enough: to rediscover myself, to change careers, to pursue the possibility of creating something meaningful. But the real reason was much simpler. He had no idea what he was doing with his life. His phone vibrated. Not a message. Just another recommendation from social media. You might like A Healing Journey Through Classical Chinese Poetry. He was about to swipe it away. Instead, his finger stopped. On the screen appeared 2 familiar lines. Before my bed, the moonlight glows. I wonder if it's frost upon the ground. He frowned. Wasn't this in our elementary school textbook? Yet, for reasons he couldn't explain, he tapped the video. The screen was simple. No dazzling visual effects. Only the night, a solitary lamp, and a quiet voice reciting, I raise my head to gaze upon the bright moon, I lower it and think of home. The moment the voice faded, the room suddenly felt quieter. Not the silence of the outside world, but something deeper. As though the tide within his heart had quietly ebbed away. He opened a search engine. The keyword, Li Bai. The results appeared. Poet of the Tang Dynasty. Courtesy name, Taipei. A lover of wine. Unrestrained in spirit. A wanderer all his life. He scrolled farther. Known as the immortal poet. A wry smile tugged at his lips. The immortal poet. Sounds wonderfully free. He tossed his phone onto the desk and leaned back in his chair. A thin crack ran across the ceiling. He had never noticed it before. Now it stood out with startling clarity. Without quite knowing why, he rose to his feet. He walked over to the bookshelf. Among the volumes he had scarcely ever opened sat a second-hand collection of poetry he had never managed to throw away. Its cover was worn with age. Selected Tang poems. He pulled it from the shelf. Opened it. The pages had yellowed over time, their corners curling ever so slightly. As though someone had once treasured the book, then quietly laid it aside. He wasn't searching for any particular page. He simply flipped through it at random. Until one page stopped him. The title read, Bring in the Wine. He began to read, Have you not seen the yellow river descending from the heavens? Halfway through the line, he stopped. Not because he didn't understand it, but because a strange sensation came over him. It felt as though the words were no longer lying still upon the page. They were flowing. He frowned and brought the book a little closer. Under the lamplight, the line of text seemed to waver. Just for an instant. He blinked. Everything looked normal again. I must be more tired than I thought. He murmured. Yet he didn't close the book. Instead, he returned to his chair and kept reading. Time slipped by unnoticed. Outside the window, the sounds of the city gradually faded. The hour grew deeper into the night. He turned another page. There it was again. Before my bed, the moonlight glows, he whispered the line aloud. This time, his voice was barely audible. Almost as though he were speaking only to himself. The instant the words moonlight glows left his lips, the lamp flickered. Only once. Only for a heartbeat. But he froze. Because the shadows in the room seemed to have gained another layer. Slowly, he lifted his head. At some point, the light outside the window had changed. The neon signs and street lamps were only the surface. Beneath them was another kind of light. Soft, cool, immaculately pure. Like real moonlight. He rose to his feet. Suddenly, he became acutely aware of his heartbeat. Once. Again. Again. He walked toward the window. Each step was slow. As though he feared that, if he stepped too hard, he might shatter something invisible. Outside the window, it was no longer Taipei. No skyscrapers. No traffic. No neon lights. Only an unfamiliar street. A dirt road. Lanterns glowing softly. And from somewhere in the distance came the faint sounds of laughter. And the merry clinking of wine cups. His entire body went rigid. His throat tightened, suddenly dry. A breeze drifted in through the window. It carried a scent unlike anything he had ever known. It had nothing to do with air purifiers. Nothing to do with the city. At its heart was the fragrance of wine. Of wood. Of the night itself. He lowered his gaze. The pages of selected Tang poems trembled gently in his hands, as though they were being turned by the wind. Then, the line. I raise my head and gaze at the bright moon, suddenly blazed with an impossible brilliance. The next instant, light spilled from the page. Like water. He had no time to step back. The radiance engulfed him whole. The world fell silent. Only one voice remained. Distant. Yet impossibly close. The voice carried a trace of laughter. The warm scent of wine. And a hint of untamed abandon. Who comes before me? Who reads my poetry in the middle of the night? In the darkness, Li Yuankai opened his eyes. Moonlight bathed the earth. Not far away, a lone figure stood waiting. His flowing robes stirred gently in the breeze. A wine flask swayed lightly in his hand. Li Yuankai couldn't yet make out his face. But he knew. He was no longer in the world he had left behind. And the man standing before him was Li Bai.
Thank you for listening to WEIBLUESKY novels. Until next chapter, take care, and keep dreaming.